Hi everyone, this is Dr. Samantha Sweeney and this is Just for Fun Friday, your weekly dose of how to infuse diversity into your life and the life of your kids. So just like last week, we're starting to talk a little bit more about current events. And, this is something that I think is really, really important because we want to kind of meet people where they are and meet events where they are. And so to talk about things right now, I think is a really important piece of what we're doing. So even though this week and last week were a little bit less fun than they usually are, the idea is to make talking about these different things really accessible. So we're trying really hard to do that. So hopefully will be helpful to you. So this week we're talking about the Orlando shooting, what happened in the nightclub, the shooting that went on and all the people that were killed. And I think the thing that I want to talk about is that, so often when horrible things like this happen, we want to shield our kids. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to kind of admit that the world out there is scary. We want to kind of keep them close to us, keep them close to the cuff, keep them safe, and kind of ignore all the stuff that's going on out in the world because it's horrifying. But the truth of the matter is we can't shield them from everything, nor should we. Eventually, our kids are going to grow up and they're going to be those adults. They're going to be the people out there in the world that are changing things, that are shaping things, and they need to know. They need to know kind of what goes on in our world and what are the different things that people experience and what are the different things that people are thinking about, what goes through their heads. They're going to eventually find out about this shooting, right? Just like Columbine, years ago is being studied years and years from now in classes and colleges and high schools and that kind of thing. Kids are eventually going to find out. And you not talking about it sends a message. What that message is unclear, but you want it to be the message of saying this is violence is not okay, and these are my thoughts about it. But also helping your kid to think about, okay, not just shooting people is bad, like that's pretty basic, we know that. But what leads to that? What are the things that are underlying the shooting? What are the different things that they need to know about? This homophobia that is just can be so pervasive and so scary, and sometimes seems, especially to kids in like middle school and high school who are, their friends are making jokes about it and they're like, haha, laughing, uncomfortably, to give them tools for how to kind of deal with that and to let them know that actually is more detrimental than you think it is. Yes, it's uncomfortable to stick up, for people or to stand up to your friends when they're saying things like that, but it's actually really necessary. And to have those conversations with your kids is incredibly important because they're going to be the ones growing up when, someone who is scary or someone who could potentially do damage says stuff like that and you're just silent. That does something. And so this needs to be a conversation with you and your kids. So if you head on over to the website, www.culturallycompetentkids.com, we usually do a one-page printout. It's usually something fun, right? It's usually like talking about the fun things that we're doing. But this week, it's a little bit different. It's a guide. It's a guide for how to talk to your kids about what happened in the Orlando shooting. And it's aggregated by age. So for the little ones, kind of school age, and then the young adults and teenagers. So how to kind of have that conversation with them. Obviously, I know that it's really hard to have this conversation with little kids. Some of this is kind of infusing that, like kind of introducing the conversation. You're not going to go into a lot of detail. We're not going to scare kids. We're not going to do something that's developmentally inappropriate. But if you choose to, and of course, this is your choice whether or not to do it, now, next week, next month, next year, but eventually to really sit down and have those conversations with your kids. So I think it's really important to have those conversations and talk about it, and hopefully this guide can really help you with it. But kids are really going to be the ones to change the world, when they get older. We are going to give them this world that they're going to be inhabiting. They're inheriting it from us, but we have a responsibility to make changes, but then the responsibility is going to fall on them. And so working to help them to have the tools and have the knowledge and the skills to make changes is going to be really, really important. And I think it's really important to say, if there's one person out there who can go on a rampage like this and to terrify, thousands and millions of people and to kill dozens of people, to wound dozens of people, one person is capable of that, right? I think that the flip side is also true, that one person can help people. One person can heal people. One person can inspire, thousands and millions of people. And your child could be that person. They don't have to be, but if they want to be, they could. And so I think that it's important to send this message to kids that they can be the counter. They can counter some of that hatred that's out there in the world. And they have the power to do that. It's incredibly powerful. And I also want to say, towards the end of this message that, to the LGBTQ community, that we know that this tragedy is not just about you. This is not a fringe issue. Any kind of hate is detrimental to all of us. This hurts all of us. And I think that it's really important for us, as straight people, as straight allies, to say we stand with you. This is a tragedy for all of us. This is a tragedy for America. And we're all going to fight to make it better because we all have a responsibility too. So I hope you head on over to the website. I hope you have these conversations with your kids. Hug them a little tighter tonight. And I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday. Thanks for joining us for another Just for Fun Friday. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it inspired you to go out there this weekend and have even more fun with your kids. I've created something that I'm really excited to share with you, and I think you're really going to love. I've compiled this amazing book list of all different diverse books. It has different characters, different storylines, and I think you're really going to love it. It's for kids of all ages, from babies, yes, babies, all the way up to young adults. So in order to get it, go to www.culturallycompetentkids.com. Sign up for the newsletter and it'll be sent straight to you right away, right to your inbox. You can use it for all sorts of things. You can use it for learning time, you can use it for literacy time, or just fun snuggle time with your kids. So sign up, enjoy it, and I'll see you next week for another Just for Fun Friday.